Hi, I'm Xanderka2009. Just call me Drakina. In honor of Godzilla -1, I am contributing to One Monstrous Moment -1 edition. Remember that one moment I picked from Godzilla 2000 for Star of Ultra edition? I'll leave a link in the description for that. There was another moment from that book that was just as memorable, simply because it was a fight scene that was rather unusual. I'll read out loud from that chapter to explain. Though Godzilla was cutting a swath of destruction across the center of Kansas, kaijuologists weren't the only scientists chasing across the plains in search of knowledge. At about noon on Friday, August 13th, a hard luck day, the National Weather Service Storm Monitoring Center in Topeka issued severe storm warnings for 5 counties in northeast Kansas. By 2 o'clock, the storm brewing looked severe enough to produce a Category 5 tornado, with wind gusts at up to 150 miles per hour. Following the storm's path, a convoy of 5 vans crammed with meteorological equipment streaked along the highway near the town of Cummings. When Chief Meteorologist Dr. Henry Dubois glanced out of his window of the lead van, he saw a funnel cloud forming about a mile ahead. He nudged his driver, a graduate student in climatology named Dexter Runsell. The youth stepped on the gas. "We got one," Dubois cried into his CB radio. The other members of the storm-chasing team whooped and put the pedal to the metal, too. Suddenly, Dubois saw a service road that might get them closer to the point where the storm would touch the earth. He pointed, and Runsell put on the turn signal and took the bend without slowing down. Dust trailed out behind the lead van, and the other vehicles had no trouble following. In the second truck, another graduate student, named Jim Paulus, noticed a military detachment on the main highway. The soldiers cried out and pointed at the passing storm chasers. Some of them waved their hands above their heads. "What's that about?" Paulus cried over the noise of the road. Professor Kelly Ridgway, the driver, glanced at the soldiers as the van streaked by them. "They're probably trying to warn us that there's a tornado brewing ahead," she replied. "They don't know that we're looking for one." Jim nodded. "Yeah," he said as the van increased speed to catch up with the lead truck. Unfortunately, nobody on the team was paying much attention to the news. They knew that Godzilla was somewhere in Kansas, but they thought they were far from the scene of his rampage. But the storm chasers were wrong. "Is that another funnel?" Dr. Dubois cried, pointing ahead where a black shape moved against the overcast sky. The doctor turned toward the radar operator in the back of the van. "Something's out there," the technician cried, "and it's big and solid." "It's coming down," the driver shouted, staring at the funnel cloud. Dr. Dubois turned around as the van screeched to a halt in a cloud of dust. As the van settled, huge drops of rain began to pelt it, and the winds kicked up. Dr. Dubois jumped out of the van. His assistants were scrambling out behind him, dragging their monitoring equipment. But when they saw the shocked look on their professor's startled face, the group turned as one and stared out toward the descending tornado. Standing, legs spread and tail flailing, in the middle of a Kansas cornfield, Godzilla roared defiantly at the funnel cloud that came to Earth 50 feet away from him. The winds were so powerful that they almost knocked the storm chasers down. The technician looked at his instruments. "It's a 4, he cried. At least, the rest of his words were lost in the storm. The team of storm chasers set up their video equipment and watched as an epic struggle unfolded. In essence, an unstoppable force was about to meet an immovable object. Less than a mile away, the crops were sucked up into the dark, twisting mass of the storm's funnel cloud. The great beast Godzilla squinted his reptilian eyes against the buffeting winds that tore at his flesh. Angrily, Godzilla bellowed again, blue flashes ran along the creature's back. He blasted the funnel cloud with his flaming breath. The blast of radiation was sucked up into the funnel along with everything else. Blue flashes seemed to mix into the cloud like cream in a swirling cup of coffee. Then the funnel spun forward and struck Godzilla full on. Debris battered and blinded the monster. Suddenly his trunk-like legs were swept out from under him. The earth shook for miles around as Godzilla tumbled to the ground. The wind continued to batter him, rolling him over a huge barn and silo that was nevertheless dwarfed by the kaiju's sheer magnitude. Godzilla roared again and belched more fire. The blue streak disappeared into the funnel. Flashes of fire could be seen as debris in the funnel cloud caught fire from Godzilla's rays. The twister snaked sideways and struck Godzilla a second time. Still struggling on the ground, the enraged dinosaur tried to grapple with the storm. His tail flailed wildly as the full force of the tornado battered itself out against the incredible, near immovable bulk of the giant mutant. In the next few seconds, the funnel actually broke itself apart against Godzilla, scattering debris all around the area. Grunting, Godzilla lumbered to his feet. Then, as the storm chasers watched in disbelief, Godzilla's roar of victory and defiance echoed across the plains of Kansas. Yeah, that was an unusual fight. Godzilla on one side and a tornado on the other side. After what seemed like a very absurd battle, Godzilla practically vaporized the tornado. It was sort of funny that Godzilla would think to challenge the tornado head-on while the tornado just simply goes on its own path of destruction without any thought. That, my kaiju-loving friends, is one monstrous moment. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.